Hey, my name is Daniel, and today I'm going to be talking about my experiences with LanguBridge 2015 Japan Cultural Discovery. So basically, when I was thinking about how I wanted to reflect on this, because there's so much to reflect on, I decided there was basically four main points that I'm going to talk about. The first is going to be the homestay. The second is going to be the classes themselves that we took for the Japanese language. The third is going to be your free time, stuff you can do after school, stuff like that. And the fourth thing I'm going to talk about is events organized by the program. The homestay was the thing I was the most nervous about coming in. The idea of living with a family for 4 weeks in a foreign country where I kind of speak the language was a little bit daunting at first. But as soon as I met my family, I was much more comfortable. I realized that everything was going to be alright and that they knew what they were doing. So what happened is I took a bus from the airport provided by the program, and they picked me up from a hotel where it dropped me off. They were there when I got off, and we walked to the car, we made basic conversation, and then we drove to their house. On the way, they told me that my Japanese was the best out of the 3 students that would be staying there over the course of the month. There was a 20-year-old Taiwanese guy and a 17-year-old Italian guy. And when I heard about them being there prior to leaving, I was really much more okay with the idea of going on the homestay, because I knew that I would have at least someone in a similar situation as me at home. My host mom was great. She loved to cook. She was super energetic. She was always trying to help me out. She loved to talk, which was great for practicing my Japanese and I guess for her practicing her English a bit. But yeah, she was really fun, and her cooking really made me more comfortable with the living in a Japanese household. Her cooking was great. Everything that she made was something that I was okay eating with, which I was surprised about. My host dad was more of a quiet guy. He was pretty much the opposite of the host mom, which was kind of funny. He was very smart, and he spoke English very well. If there was ever a really complex idea or something that we just couldn't understand in Japanese, our host dad would explain it to us in English. This was really helpful because it made me know that there was never a time when there would be a miscommunication and something would go wrong because of that. He always made sure that we understood what was happening and was always willing to help us out. On the first day that we were there, he walked us to the train station, he helped us get our commuter passes, he told us how to get to our school, and actually the first day of school he went with us there, which was not common for a host parent to do, but it really helped us out. So he was great. I also had a host sister. She was a lot more similar to the mom. She was very bubbly and energetic and always had something to say. I didn't hang out with her too much because a lot of times she was out for dinner, or I was not home until dinner and she would leave and had driving classes and stuff. So we didn't see each other too much, but it was still good to know her, and she was really welcoming to me and the other 2 host students. Now, the second thing I'm going to talk about is the classes themselves at the school. Now, the first thing I want to talk about in this subsection is the teachers. The teachers were great. They were super fun. They were very knowledgeable about Japanese because they were native speakers. They could answer pretty much all your questions. They were great at interacting with the students, and it seemed like they really enjoyed what they were doing. I had 3 teachers that rotated throughout the month, and I liked all of them. So I think that should speak great numbers about the quality of the teachers. The second thing I'm going to talk about in this is the classmates. Now, at the beginning of the month, I kind of started talking to like one of my classmates or 2 of my classmates who could speak English well, and we began to get along. But as the month progressed, eventually I was pretty much friends with almost everybody in my class, I would say. We all could joke around, and the teachers would join in, and it was really just a great time. I was surprised by how similar I was to a lot of my classmates. The fact that we all went to Japan for 4 weeks by ourselves kind of speaks numbers about how you might be similar to the classmates. And it really made it easy to get along with them. I think that the fact that we had 4 weeks together and we were all doing the same thing, we all had the same troubles, and we could talk about the same things because we were all in a very similar situation, made it really easy to become friends with my classmates. I think that was great. The third thing I'm going to talk about is the workload. So we moved pretty fast, to be honest, and if you didn't study and you didn't do your homework, I don't think you would have been able to keep up very well. I paid attention in class and I studied for about 40 minutes a night, including my homework. And I was able to keep up with like the grammar and a lot of the vocab pretty well. But looking back on it, there's still a ton of vocab we went over that I don't remember, and I would have to go back and study it now, which I am doing. But overall, if you pay attention in class and you study and do your homework, you'll be able to keep up. You just have to try your best, and the teachers will be understanding of any struggles you have, and they'll try to help you with it. Now, the third thing I'm going to talk about is free time. So every other day during the week, you'll have an event. And on the days that you don't have an event, you get out of school at 12:40, and then you have until probably about 6, depending on your family, to do whatever you want. And if you text them ahead of time and tell them that you won't be home for dinner, you can stay out until 9:30 or 10 or 12 if you're 20 for a lot of the families. The independence was probably my favorite part of the whole program. In our free time, me and my friends often went to arcades, we went shopping, we just walked around the city, we saw a movie once, and karaoke. Now, Japanese karaoke, karaoke, is obviously where it originated. So it's great. You basically have the private box karaoke, Japanese style, and you just go there with your friends, go there for an hour, 2, 3, and just sing and have a great time. And it's really fun. It's honestly one of the things I miss the most. Another thing I did with my free time was go to see fireworks. I went with my friend and her host sister on a Wednesday evening. She lived one station back on the same line towards school as me. So I met her at her station, and then we went to the fireworks. It was a really fun time. We got lost on the way back, but it was great anyways. Her host mom drove me back to my station, and I walked home from there. I missed the 4th of July, so it was really cool to be able to see at least some fireworks. Now, I'm not going to diss American fireworks, but the Japanese ones were pretty great too. Now, the fourth thing I'm going to talk about is events. Now, the events were, for the most part, really cool. You got a lot of stuff that you were able to do that was already included in the program that you didn't have to go pay for by yourself. So you're pretty much guaranteed to have a great time. We did all sorts of things like looking out the Tokyo Tower and going to Asakusa, and we went on a tour around the Tokyo Bay. One Saturday, we went to a place called Karuizawa. And now this was about 2 hours outside of Tokyo, and we took a bus there. We basically rode up into the mountains through a bunch of tunnels and stuff, and it was amazing. Now, I live on the east coast of the United States, so the biggest mountains I've ever seen are like the Appalachians. So being able to just look at these huge, steep mountains was overwhelming almost. It was like, I'd seen pictures of them obviously, but being able to see them in real life was just so cool. Now, the temperature was also a lot cooler there, so that might have warped my judgment a little bit, getting away from the hot Tokyo summer. But I will say it was my second favorite event. Speaking of my second favorite event, it's important that I talk about the first, the Fuji trip. Now, this was a trip where we left Friday afternoon and we came back Sunday night. In it, we went to the hotel on Friday, Saturday we climbed Mount Fuji, and Sunday we went to Fuji-Q Highland. Now, Friday was really fun because we got to the hotel, we got in our rooms, and we just got to kind of enjoy the hotel. The hotel had an onsen, it had a pool, it had a great view of Mount Fuji and the lake surrounding it, and it was just really a fun time. Saturday we woke up at 4:30 a.m. and began our trek. It was really fun, but it took a long time. It took my friend and I about 4 hours and 20 minutes to get to the top from Station 5, and it was really fun. It was a bit hard, but it wasn't anything impossible, and the view and the experience were absolutely worth it. I'd love to do it again. Now, after we got back on Saturday, of course we were tired, but we still had fun that night. Now, Sunday was also a really fun day, except for the fact that I was extremely sunburned from climbing the day before. When we went to Fuji-Q Highlands, it was amazing. We didn't get too much time there. We got there at about 10 and we had to leave by like 4, I think. But overall, it was really fun. It was probably the best amusement park I've ever been to. A lot of the roller coasters there had all sorts of different world records, and we got on as many as we could. They were super fun and they were super well made, and I really had a blast. So overall, the experience was priceless. It's something that I really can't explain in words, but I did my best to this video. It's something I'm so happy that I went through with when I look back on it a month later. I had such a great time with it, and I made a lot of memorable experiences. I would say that if this is something you really want to do, and the only thing holding you back is fear, you should absolutely do it. Ships are safe in a harbor, but that's not what ships are built for.